Hey guys, welcome to lesson number 20 in geometry. Today we're really going to dive into surface area. So we're going to talk about what surface area is of these three-dimensional shapes that we've been talking about. So to get started, I want you to take these 6 solids here and go ahead and classify them. So name them. Remember, the name comes from the shape of the base. So pause your video, answer these 6 questions, and then unpause your video. All right, guys, here's the answers that you should have got. So go ahead and check those 6. Make sure that those are the answers that you got. Remember, if there's 2 bases, that makes it a prism. If there's 1 base and all the other faces are triangles, that's what makes it a pyramid. On number 3 here, if you put rectangular prism, that's good. And it looks like it here, we don't know for sure, but it looks like it. If all of these sides are the same, if this is a square, then we know that this is a cube. Okay, so I would have taken that as well. All right, surface area. So remember, surface area is simply the area of the faces of the solid. So just like the name says, surface area, it's the area of the surface. So if you were to look at any three-dimensional shape, it is how much space, how much area is on the outside. Okay, and so if we're finding surface area of all these different solids, really all we're doing is we're taking all of these outside faces that make up this solid, and we're finding the area of them and we're adding them together. And so if I look at this rectangular prism here, okay, we know it's a rectangular prism. The base here is a rectangle. There's 2 of them because there's another one up here. All the other faces are rectangles, so it's a rectangular prism. If I were to look at the net of this figure, so a net is simply if I take this 3D shape and I unfold it and I lay it flat, it's the shape that we get. Okay, so this picture right here is the net of this rectangular prism. It has 6 faces. Here's the 6 faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of this rectangular prism. And if I were to find the area of all 6 of these faces, that would give me the surface area, because that would give me the area of all the surfaces here. So let's do that. So if I look at this rectangle, the way we find area of a rectangle, simply length times width. So 15 times 10 gives me 150. If I look at this base here, this gray one, this one's 15 by 8. So 15 times 8 gives me 120. This is all inches squared. Here I have 15 by 10, so that's going to be 150 again. Here I have 15 by 8, so that's going to be 120 again. This rectangle right here, we know that this side is 8. Okay, so then if we look at this side right here, this should be our 10. Okay, so really what we're looking at here is we're looking at this piece over here, which is an 8 by 10. So this is going to be 80. This is going to be 80. And so if we want to find the surface area, we simply take 150 plus 120 plus 150 plus 120 plus 80 plus 80. So that should give us 400 and 300, so 700 inches squared. Okay, and so we simply just added all those up. And that gives us the area of the surface, the area of all the faces. Now, that's one way you can do that. One way you can find surface area is simply look at the net, find the area of all those faces. Another way is we have a shortcut. Okay, we have a formula that we can use. And so this formula that we use to find surface area of any three-dimensional shape, okay, prisms, that is, prisms, any prism that we're looking at, whether it's rectangular prism, triangular prism, pentagonal prism, so any prism that we're looking at, we can use this formula here. And so what it is surface area equals 2 times b plus p times h. Now, what these are, pay attention here, because this capital B here makes a big difference. Okay, so this capital B that we're going to look at, what that's going to stand for, it's not going to stand for just base. It's going to stand for area of the base. Okay, and so that's important because We're going to have some triangles that are going to have a base, but we're actually finding area of the base. That's what that capital B stands for. The capital P, we're still looking at the base of our shape, and so that's very important that you can recognize the base. The capital P is the perimeter of the base. Okay, and then we have H, which is the height of the solid. Now, a good way to memorize this height of the solid, the way I kind of memorize this, it's the distance from base to base. Okay, and so when you're working with a prism always has two bases, whether it's two triangles or two rectangles or two pentagons or two trapezoids. It's always going to have two bases. And so when you're finding this H here, you're always finding that distance from one base to the other, because that is going to be the height of our solid. So the height's not always going to be from ground to the top. It's going to be the distance from one base to the other base. Okay, and so let's look at these examples down here. All right, so again, remember the formula that we're using to find surface area of a prism. Okay, again, it has to be a prism to do this. Surface area equals 2b plus pH. Okay, and so every time you're going to see me list these out. Capital B, capital P, capital H. And so I'm going to find these every single time, and I'm going to write them here on the side so that then I can plug them into my formula. So first thing you have to do here, every single time, is recognize what kind of solid it is. And so when I look at this, I see this has this trapezoid here at the front, and it has this trapezoid here at the back. Okay, and so this is a trapezoidal prism. And so two things are important there. One is it's a prism, so that tells me to use this equation. Number two, the base is a trapezoid. So whenever I find area of the base and perimeter of the base, I know I'm using this trapezoid, where this piece is 10, this piece is 20, this is 9, this is 10, and then this distance here is 8. Okay, so this is the shape I'm using to find capital B and capital P. So first thing, area of the base, area of this trapezoid. So we have to remember, how do we find area of a trapezoid? 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. So again, remember, you're just looking at the trapezoid when you're doing B and P here. So we get 1/2 base 1 is 10 plus base 2 is 20 times the height of the trapezoid, which is 8. Okay, and so what that's going to give me then, I'm going to get 10 plus 20 is 30. 1/2 of 30 is 15. And then 15 times 8 gives me 120 centimeters squared. Okay, so that's the area of this trapezoid. Now I need perimeter of the trapezoid. Well, we know perimeter is just adding up all the sides. And so we take 20 plus 10 plus 10 plus 9. And so I get the area, the perimeter of my trapezoid. 20 plus 10 plus 10 plus 9 gives me 49 centimeters. Okay, and then the last thing that I have to do is H, so the distance from the front trapezoid to the back trapezoid. And so that's going to be this distance right here. And so they tell us that that is 12. So my H here is 12 centimeters. And so all I have to do now is go back up and plug all that information into my surface area formula. So surface area equals 2 area of the base, which is 120, plus P, so 49, times 12. And so I'm going to type that into my calculator. 2 times 120 plus 49 times 12. And so we get 828. Surface area is still area, so centimeters squared. Okay. All right. Let's look at this next one. So again, first thing you have to recognize, what kind of shape, what kind of solid is this? And so when I look at this, I see my base is this right triangle. Okay, where this is 4, this is 3. So first thing I recognize here is this is a triangular prism. So prism tells me to use 2b plus pH. Triangular tells me that this is what I'm looking at to find my B and to find my P. Okay, so first thing we start with, area of a base. So area of this triangle. So area is 1/2 base times height. So 4 times 3. So the area of my base, capital B, is going to be 12 divided by 2. So 6 meters squared. Now, perimeter, here's one thing we have to look at. Perimeter of this triangle, we need to know what this side right here is. Well, we don't know what that side is. Well, it's a right triangle, and so we should know how to find that side. So we're going to have to use 3 squared plus 4 squared equals x squared. So our Pythagorean theorem to figure out what that is. So that's going to give us 9 plus 16, which is 25, equals x squared. And so that tells me that this side is 5. And so then when I'm finding my perimeter, it's simply 3 plus 4 plus 5. So my perimeter is 12 meters. And then last thing, h, distance from triangle to triangle, distance from base to base, is going to be this length right here. And so that length is given to us. So my h is going to be 10. And so all I have to do to find surface area, and then 2b, so 2 times 6, plus p, which is 12, times h, which is 10. We can simply plug that into our calculator, or no, this is 120 plus 12, so 132 meters squared. Okay, I want you guys to pause the video, work out this last problem. When you're done with it, unpause the video, and I'll have the answer there. All right, here's the answer that you should have got. So again, I labeled out the area of the base, the perimeter of the base, and the height of the solid. Once I know those, I plug it into my 2b plus pH. All right, go ahead and do lesson number 20 practice.